the way we did it was the four of us got on, actually there was 6 of us because we had 2 roadies, and who knows why, because we got on a Greyhound bus and we brought a guitar, a bass, and a pair of drumsticks, and 2 roadies to help us carry that. One of the roadies was Mark Sullivan, who's one of my dearest friends still, and was the singer of the first band I was in, the Slinkies. The second roadie was Henry Garfield, who became Henry Rollins, who I grew up with. Henry's from Glover Park in my neighborhood in Washington, D.C. That was our road crew. And we took the bus across the country, punk rockers, and that was an adventure in itself. Let me tell you, if you're at, the Greyhound bus station in, say, Oklahoma City at, say, 5 in the morning in 1980, and you're a bunch of punk rock kids, it's entertainment, let me tell you. It is very sketchy. So we got to Los Angeles, and I had made arrangements to stay with a woman named Rosetta, who I had met at an X show in Washington, D.C. She was very nice. She gave me her phone number, said, no problem, you can stay with me, just give me a call when you get there. So we got to the Greyhound bus station, exhausted. We've been there for, we've been traveling for 4 days or something, and I called and the number was disconnected. That was what I had. That was the move. That was it. I had no other plan B or anything. I was just like, okay. And I said to everybody, I was like, let me dial that again. But, if you have a number that's disconnected, it doesn't matter how many times you dial it. It just doesn't work. And then I started thinking like, well, okay, we know the area code is 213. So there's 7 digits. So it's only maybe one of the digits I wrote down wrong. So I started thinking, I was just trying to figure out the mathematical aspect of this, like how many times. But instead, I remembered that I had a great uncle who lived in Pasadena. It's my grandmother's brother. And I called my father, and I said, hey, I got a little bit of a situation here. We're in Los Angeles. We have nowhere to stay. We're at the bus station. Things are getting very creepy here. Because LA punks at that point, I think they were really the enemy, and there was a lot of unpleasantness going on already at the bus station. So I got the number of my great uncle, Uncle Stanley, and I called him and I said, hey, Uncle Stanley, it's Ian. I mean, we weren't close. I mean, I met him once or something, and I said, hey, it's Ian, how are you? He's like, yeah? Hey, so I'm in LA, really? And I'm wondering if me and my 5 friends can stay with you for 2 weeks. So he actually came over. I think he had a little VW bug. He picked up the bass, the guitar, the drumsticks, and 3 of us, and he drove us to Pasadena, and everyone else had to take a bus to Pasadena, which is, as you can imagine, a nightmare. We ended up playing one show, and it was at the Hong Kong in Chinatown. We played with the Mentors, Vox Pop, and a band called Puke Spit and Guts. Has anybody here heard of Puke Spit and Guts? Anybody? Man, I have the record. Between every song is the sound of babies and women screaming and chainsaws. I don't know where they're from, but they're classic. Of course, we were from DC, and we assumed that we would be able to. We just assumed, yeah, we're punks. Yeah, we're gonna just plug into their amps. We didn't know that that was not acceptable, So we just said to the Mentors, like, hey, can we use your amps? And do you guys know do you know the Mentors, the band? Not the friendliest people. And Puke Spit and Guts, less friendly. And Vox Pop, totally insane. So we said, hey, can we just use your amps? And they said, you gotta be kidding me. We're kind of in a pickle here. And they said, well, all right, after much haggling, they said yes. And I remember I had a bass with 3 strings on it, because if the tuning peg and the 4-string had broken off, that was my signature. Hey, the 3-string bass. And I bought new strings for the event. It's a new gig, and I bought some strings. And I was sitting out front, and I put the new strings on. I was trying to tune it by ear, because I'm such a professional. I'm trying to tune it, but I'm so way off key that I actually break the 3rd string. So now I have a 2-string bass. I'm like, that's all right, I can roll with that. So I'm learning all the songs, like trying to learn them on 2 strings. and then I break the third string. So now I have an E string, one string, and I'm trying to figure out how to play the song. So I had to borrow a bass too. I borrowed from Paul Cutler from Vox Pop. The gig, I thought it was a pretty good gig. I don't know what anyone else thought. I read